Hello computer gamers, this is Insomniac Andrew, and I've had a couple days not doing these videos. I had some trouble with my electricity on the first day, so I ended up doing some tinkering and tried to solve the problem, but ultimately failed to solve the problem. I think I would have to tear out some of these walls, I guess, to be able to solve the problem, and also I'd probably have to be a certified electrician. So yeah, that's not happening. Not anytime soon anyway. But with the limited knowledge I did have, I did try to solve the problem, but it was unsolvable. So let's just leave it at that. The one way I can actually solve this ongoing problem that may continue to happen during the winter, I could either get I could buy one thing or another to help with the problem, because I do have one source of electricity that I could access. It's just that I would have to go away from where I'm at now, or I just have to give my computer battery source to run on. But that's not, I mean, both of those things would cost me something. It would cost me some money to buy something I don't have, so me being cheap, I'm not buying either one of those things right now. So moving on. Yesterday I was just tired from the work that I was trying to do the day before, and just kind of was napping and stuff, so nothing too major. Kind of lied around watching StarCraft 2 videos. But anyways, here I am. I want to talk about League of Legends stuff. I wanted to go over Warwick, as you can see here on the screen, Taric, and Rammus. So Warwick, he's got this ultimate. I don't fully understand his ultimate or this champion in general, especially with the item that he gets and stuff. It's kind of confusing, but anyways, he does seem different from other champions in the way he uses his upgraded smite, although I could be wrong. I don't know if there's a glitch or something or what's going on. Maybe he just got a nerf stick with the smite. It could be. Anyway, so here's the thing. His basic ability is pretty cool, because now this actually levels up as you level your champion, I do believe. It starts out, you get 3 life, or wait, does it level up as you attack? I don't know. He's so confusing. I really need to play him more. But at one point it'll be like you're stealing 3 life, and another you'll be stealing 5. So it might be a little bit like Incinerate, but with life stealing. So that could be how it works. I'm not sure if it levels up as you level your champion or not. If it's just leveling up as you're attacking. At any of these abilities, if you do mouse over their icons, it will give you a tooltip. Unfortunately, that tooltip does not update unless you unhover and then rehover. So that's probably why I was confused by the Eternal Thirst. I'm going to start doing that as I'm attacking something, and seeing, I'm sure the numbers go up as you're attacking more and more, instead of as you level up more and more. That's probably the case. It'd be nice if somebody would correct me on that one way or the other. Okay, that's his basic ability. It's pretty handy, obviously, because it makes him really good in the jungle, because he can just keep on jungling away. He doesn't really need any mana potions of any kind. He doesn't have problems, really. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright, now there's this other ability, his first one, okay, that he learns. This is what I generally max first. I don't really see any reason to max any other ones. This is some magic damage. I believe his basic ability is magic damage as well, or maybe not. Well, anyways, This is magic damage, and it does scale with ability power. So this is a champion that will use ability power, so that's pretty nice. It's not exactly melee range, so it's pretty useful. It's still got a pretty short range though. It's pretty much instant, although it kind of I guess the main thing is it's just kind of more of like sustainability. I mean, you're not just using your basic ability to stay alive, you're also using this ability a lot, and it helps. I don't know a whole lot about it other than that it just does a lot of damage. So yeah, I max it first. Now this second ability is pretty simple. I want to say it increases his and allies' attack speed, so it kind of makes him a pretty good team fighter. It also helps him jungle a bit better. Helps him steal more life, with his basic ability. And of course, if you do build some attack damage on him, that of course works rather well because you're increasing his attack speed. So this ability kind of makes him a little bit like Beastmaster, I guess, in a way, because it's increasing the attack speed of himself and allies. Pretty simple stuff, really. This third one is a little bit different. The most similar ability we have in Dota 2 would be Bloodseeker's Bloodthirst. So I guess how it works is once they get under 50%, then you can see them if they're in a certain range. So it's not global like the current Blood Rage, but it's still pretty nice. This is one ability that's confusing me because you can toggle it. Now, what I want to know is why you would ever want it off. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem to cost any mana. It doesn't seem to have a cooldown. So, I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is that maybe once somebody gets low enough, then Warwick howls perhaps globally so the opponents can hear. If that's the case, if it is indeed different from the howlings of his other abilities, or even if it's not, I guess that kind of makes sense that you would want to toggle it off so that your opponents don't know that you're close enough to them, that they might assume that you're far away. Maybe that's why you can toggle it off. But I don't know if the opponents can actually hear his blood scent. I'm not familiar with the exact sounds that he makes with all the abilities. They'll kind of sound the same to me still for the moment. I mean, obviously they're like the Hungering Strike sounds different, and so on. But I guess what I'm trying to say is he's just kind of I don't have enough experience with him yet. So it's just overall really confusing, and especially since a lot of other people don't really play him very much. A lot of people just tend to play the expensive champions that cost like 6,300 and throw them in the jungle is what they tend to do. But this guy only costs 450 IP, so people don't like to play him just because he's cheap, I guess. Anyway, he does seem to be a pretty strong champion, just because like this also increases movement speed, of course, just like Bloodseeker's passive does. Of course, he doesn't go as fast as Bloodseeker, but it's still pretty nice to have. Anyway, I gotta get some water. Oh, I'm thirsty. My throat's hurting. And then his last ability. This one confuses me a lot. I think it scales with AP, but I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if it's designed to do damage after the suppress or not, but that is kind of what happens when you use the red item. It seems like all his damage goes into it, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just because like somebody might have too much magic resist, If they do, then the magic damage that your ultimate may be doing might be under the threshold of his magic resist, so you'd be doing 0 magic damage. And in that case, only the true damage from your smite will go through. So if you do play him as a jungler, then you can use your smite, your upgraded smite, your red one, with any enchantment, although a lot of people would recommend his purple one just because he gets the attack speed and all that, purple enchantment. But anyways, the purple enchantment might still be low level, and your infinite dress also might still be low level. If that's the case, and the opponent has a really high magic resist, they might not be taking any damage from your ultimate. So that, but I mean, with your red smite though, then they're still going to take true damage, and after a second or two, they'll start taking a little bit of damage from you attacking them so much. So he's one of the champions that works really well with the red smite, is the point, because you can lock down the opponent. I've tried the red smite on other champions, and so far I haven't found a single one where I like the red smite, other than Warwick, just because none of them have the same level of lockdown that he has. Now this guy is a guy with his ultimate. You can't even use cleanse to remove this disable. You're just completely locked down. And I think even if somebody stuns Warwick, the guy he used duress on is still locked down. So it's a really nice ability. They really can't do anything. They just take a bunch of damage, and it's really strange, but whatever. So sometimes I use Hunter's Call before I do my ultimate. I don't know if it has any effect as far as making the infinite dress stronger or not. I would assume so, but I could be wrong, because it does appear that Warwick is attacking. So this is the thing. I don't know if it's like a combination of Pudge's ultimate, in that he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing some magic damage to you, per second. If it's a combination of that and regular attacks, or if it's just that. But I have a suspicion that it is a combination. So yeah, there's a lot about this champion I don't particularly understand, but even with that said, I do have like a 75% win rate with him in ranked, so I should probably play him more often. I've only played him 4 games, but it's still pretty good win rate, I suppose, all things considered. Now, a champion that I just refunded, but I really like him a lot. That was my last refund ticket. I would have preferred to refund somebody else, but they weren't available because I hadn't purchased them recently. But on this guy, I had a lot of fun with him, but I've also had a lot of miserable times with him too. So this guy's really awesome because he's got this basic ability that lets him deal bonus magic damage based on his armor. And apparently this reduces his cooldowns. I'm not really sure the math on the reducing the cooldowns thing. But anyway. Oh man, my ear itches, I'm sorry. For the pause here, it's driving me nuts. I have dry skin, so my ears have it really bad. And yeah, it's messy. Okay, so so each of his abilities, you can pretty much get away with casting them in a team fight. So you could end up, using Gemcraft. You get your bonus magic damage attack 4 times easily, and then maybe even some more times because your cooldowns are being reduced, I suppose. I'm not sure if this is old information or not. But anyway, moving on. His first ability, he's able to heal an ally and himself. So what he does is he targets an ally, and they can be a pretty good distance away. Certainly not melee range. It's pretty much about the same range as Abaddon's Mist Coil. So really nice range. And then I guess it's 40% more effective if he self casts it, then it's only heals himself. So it's not like super effective when he heals on himself. So it definitely encourages him to be healing his ally a lot. So it encourages his ally to take a little harass along with him, for them to take turns eating harass from the opponents, which is pretty cool. And of course, if Taric does end up taking more than his fair share of harass, you can just say, okay, lane partner, I guess I just won't heal you, I'll just heal myself, and that's understandable. So, pretty cool champion. If you're in a fight, you just heal yourself or your ally, and then boom, you can use Gemcraft again and attack for bonus magic damage. So very, very nice. Able to punish the opponents for attacking you guys. And then there's the second ability that he learns, which is actually somewhat risky, but it's really nice. It's like there isn't a real equivalent to it in Dota 2, but if there were to be anything similar to it, I'd say like perhaps Rubik's aura, or the Pit Lord's aura is coming soon, but it's not that so much as it's more like Omni Knight's ultimate, only instead of maximum armor, it's just some armor. Yeah. So, kind of like Basilius Ring, only it's more armor than that, obviously. So, anyways, this actually gives himself armor, and then gives allies armor. So, and I do believe that I don't think you can actually. I'm not sure how it scales exactly. It's been a while, but I do know that it has an active, which allows you to remove most of, if not all of, the armor bonus that you get from the ability passively. You'll lose that, but you gain it back when the ability is ready to be casted again. So when you activate it, you don't just lose the armor though, but you reduce the armor of the opponents that are nearby you. So this allows you to give more firepower to your ally effectively. Of course, you're going to be mainly magic damage. This is a magic damage spell, and your other spells also do magic damage, and then your passive also lets you deal bonus magic damage. So the point of shattering your armor and that of nearby enemy opponents and ally champions, all those guys, you shatter everyone's armor. The point of doing it is so that way your buddy can do more damage. So keep that in mind. If you do, for whatever reason, have a lot of bonus attack damage, like maybe Slade Baron or whatever, fine, yeah, then this can even buff you as well. But other than that, it's mostly just another way to proc Gemcraft for your bonus magic damage. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you might be able to make a relatively decent hybrid damage champion. But you will increase the damage of this active, of its magic damage, initial damage, by increasing his armor. So keep that in mind. Oh, and by the way, yeah, his first skill, although it does scale on ability power for healing, it also scales on your own maximum health. So imagine that. If you were to buy items that give you increased health, like Warmog's armor, or that slowing item, what was it called? It has the icy effect. Anyway, you buy one of those items, or even other things that are much cheaper. You will increase the heal on your allies, which is pretty great. So you not only increase your own survivability, but the survivability of your allies. Of course, the scaling isn't incredible as far as health goes, but it's still nice that it's there. So keep that in mind. He's a pretty fancy guy. I think the Shatter might also scale with AP a little as far as damage, but I'm not sure. Probably not though. but if it does, it's very, very small scaling. Now, Dazzle and Radiance, I know for sure they do scale with your AP. Okay, your third skill, Dazzle, how does it work? It's a very short range spell compared to his heal, actually. It's still not like practically melee range though, like Shatter, but it's still pretty short. Now, if you do cast it and they are at your maximum range for casting it, and I could be wrong about this, but I think perhaps if they run away and you're further away from them, then it stuns them for even less time. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the further away they are from you, the less time it stuns them for. So if you're pretty much melee range from them, that's when you get the maximum stun time. So how I've found this ability to be effective is to wait until my opponent is like chasing after my buddy, my lane partner, or my team fight partner, or whatever the case. They're gonna have to cross paths with you, and at that moment, when they get into melee range, you might have to intercept them. You might have to move a little bit to one side or the other. That's fine. When you get close enough to them, you can cast Dazzle on them at melee range, and then you get stunned for the maximum amount of time. So then you can hit them once, and then like shatter them, and then hit them again, and maybe even use your ultimate before or in between or afterwards, and then hit them again, and so on. It's a really cool ability because it really sets up all the rest of his abilities. So I tend to max this first on him generally, just because of the immense kill potential, and it makes you a threat to the opponents. Mainly, it prevents them from going ham on your lane partner, basically, which is pretty important. I feel like. Now, I suppose if I were not playing Taric in the support position, or playing him like a jungler or a top laner or something like that, then yeah, I suppose I wouldn't be maxing this first. I'd probably max Imbue, maybe even Shatter. Now, sometimes I will, in lane, choose to max the Shatter, but when I do that, it's usually because my lane partner does have a bit of lockdown himself, and can really benefit from the extra minus armor, or the opponents just really don't have enough escapability to survive lower levels of Dazzle, then I may max out Shatter sooner in order to punish them harder for being slower. And of course, there are some times where I may have to level up Imbue more, just because my lane partner is just going total ham, and in those cases I generally lose no matter what. So probably shouldn't be leveling that up quite so much. And keep in mind, it does become more effective as you gain more health. So as you're leveling up naturally and buying items, it will become more effective. So it's generally not worth it to max it out early, but I would definitely have a point in it by level 3 generally, because it's just really good just to have, just casting even just a level 1 ability, just to give you guys some sort of sustainability when you run out of potions, or even before you do, just so you can man fight that much harder. So, but moving on, as far as the balance of all that, I think it's pretty easily understood. He's actually a pretty easy champion to use. What gets frustrating is his lane partners or his teamfight partners or whatever sometimes. But yeah, I mean, if they're being cooperative, then Taric just has a wonderful time. Now his ultimate is actually really cool. I don't think they really have anything like this in Dota 2 at all. If I were to describe it any way that makes sense, I would say it's kind of like Dazzle's ultimate, Weave, because it boosts your allies' attack power, basically. Of course, it won't increase their defenses, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, if you casted a Weave on the opponents, it would lower their armor significantly, which increases your allies' attack damage, basically. That's kind of what I mean by that. Now, here's the interesting thing. This ability actually does damage. So you do kind of want to do it in the middle of the opponents, but you also want to do it when your allies are around you too. So it has its greatest effect when all 10 players are all clumped up in the same area. And that's the same way with Dazzle's ultimate. So, of course it does different thing, but its functionality is somewhat similar. Now, of course, you have to keep in mind there's no targeting on this. It's just an instant cast, just like Shatter is. So you just want to make sure you're in the middle of things. So in that regard, I generally will pick up Flash on Taric. I think it's invaluable for him because he can get into position for his ultimate. Then that's what he wants to do. And I'll also give him Cleanse too, and I really feel like that's extremely valuable on him because if he's stunned, then he's not able to stun somebody else, or if he's ensnared, then he won't be able to get into position to stun somebody or to do his combo or whatever, to use his ultimate and so on. You can't flash if you're ensnared, and you also want to get rid of slows too. Although you generally won't need to spend Cleanse on slows, but just in general they can be really annoying. So yeah, now, but yeah, stuns and snares are usually the more problematic abilities for him. And if you do have to deal with slows a lot, you could always just pick up some green boots because they make slows much less effective. Anyway, moving on. This ability will be doing damage, like I said, and it also increases not just the attack damage of your allies, but also their ability power, and then your own too. So because it increases your attack damage, it is effective for him to build some attack damage, I guess. It doesn't scale though, it's a flat boost. So, but that's still pretty nice. So it's kind of more like Luna's aura, for example, than let's see who else would I compare it to, like Magnus. So it's more like Luna's aura than like Magnus's Empower, right? Because Magnus Empower scales with the guy's attack damage, so yeah. But it's still pretty handy. It still gives a respectable amount of attack damage and ability power, but it's not really enough for him to make him like full AD champ. If it were scaling, percentage-wise, then it would make this guy an absolutely insane champion. But he's still pretty good as he is, because all that magic damage he brings to the table and just utility, just stunning people all over the place. He's pretty fun, but he's not going to carry a game, that's for sure. He's definitely a playmaker and is really fun support, but there are champions that are better than him. So one of those champions that I want to talk about that I feel like is better than him is Rammus. This is the last champion I'll talk about in this episode. This is the fourth episode of this series. So Rammus is a really cool champion. I actually own the King skin, which is similar to his original skin, but it's different, obviously. So in this case, he's got green shell and a green top of his head, and let's see, this champion is really strong. Okay, first off, his basic is just like he gets extra attack damage. So for every 4 armor he has, he gets 1 attack damage. And that's basically all his basic ability does. Which is pretty cool. So it means that any armor item is totally viable on him. It doesn't matter what it is. If it gives armor, he can buy it. Of course, some items are definitely going to be better than others, especially the ones that give higher amounts of armor. But yeah, whatever. There are other items that are going to be good for him too. Now, moving on, the first ability he can learn is Powerball. Now this is basically his stun. Now this is a really sweet ability. Like, I mean, I don't even know how to describe how awesome it is. But basically, he's a turtle, right? So you don't expect him to be very fast, but this ability just makes him fast. Because what he does is he starts spinning, like he thinks he's Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever, and he starts going really fast. And well, actually, he can spin in place as well. So you can have absolutely full control of where you go, and you can totally spin in place or turn around like really easily in whatever direction you want. So it's a really strong ability as far as flexibility is concerned. And then of course, you do have to keep in mind though that once you bump into any enemy unit, then you will stun units around you, and the ability will stop. And of course it will time out eventually if you don't bump into any enemy units. So keep that in mind too. If it does time out, then you won't stun anything. So there's that as well. So you could actually use it to get to a team fight faster, but depending on your timing, you might not have it available at the beginning of the fight, which might be okay if you just want to go chase them or something. Then you might be able to use it a little bit later. But if you're trying to use it to jump into the fight and stun someone right away, you gotta be careful about how you time that. Now, this ability does scale with ability power, so the more you have of that, the more damage it will do. And I'm not sure if it scales with your movement speed. It probably does. And then his second ability is really nice because it will increase his armor and magic resist a lot. And I do believe this is more than how much Taric's ability increases his own. Although to be fair, Taric does increase the armor of the allies around him by about like half of his bonus, I guess, or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I mean, Rammus, the reason why boosting his own armor is so good, first off, is because it'll increase his regular damage. So for every 4 points of armor this ability is increasing for him, it's giving him that 1 attack damage because of his basic ability. But it also increases magic resist on top of that. So it's not enough just to increase his armor. His magic resist is stronger as well, which means that any kind of damage other than true damage that somebody's going to try to do to Rammus, it's going to be reduced quite a bit. And this ability will also be dealing magic damage just as Powerball did, but in this case it's a much smaller amount. So what this means is as you attack him, you will get damaged. And I do believe this will happen even with true damage. He will deal back some magic damage to you. So although I do feel like true damage would be a good counter to him, I do believe he's still able to deal some damage to you. So keep that in mind. You're not invulnerable to Rammus by any means. It's just easier for you to kill him. I do believe that's how that works. So he's still pretty cool ability. It unfortunately, his first 2 abilities do not combo together at all. You cannot be spinning and have your ball curl at the same time. You have to choose one or the other. So keep that in mind. If you do activate your defensive ball curl, you know your power ball is going to be eliminated, or vice versa. So you can cancel your ball curl by going in power ball. So, or maybe it was just one way, and then the other one you can't even initiate it or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a very nice ability because it's great for when the opponents want to harass you. It's great for team fights. It's great for jungling. It's great for everything really. And if you have cooldown reduction, then it's even better, obviously, because you can activate it more often. Puncturing Taunt. This is his 3rd ability. This is pretty much his best ability, in my opinion, because it gets the job done. I mean, well, I mean, his power ball can stun like a whole team basically, right? But I mean, that's if positioning is like perfect and the timing is perfect, right? But puncturing taunt is great because it's an almost melee ability, and what it does is it makes the opponent attack him. It's just one enemy champion. It doesn't work on minions, but it does reduce the enemy's armor, which is great because, like Taric's armor reducing ability, your ally can take advantage of that. The armor reduction, of course, does not scale at all, unfortunately. Whereas with Taric, his minus armor on the opponents. Not only does it hit more than one, but it scales with his armor. So you can really reduce their armor quite a bit, I think. Or maybe it was just the damage that scales. Actually, I do need some details on exactly how much Taric's armor reduction, how much it puts out. I don't really know exactly how all that works. But I guess the point is, just being able to hit an area is really great for Taric. But the problem is, the opponent's not forced to fight, right? Of course you can stun him, but if he's at a long range, then you're kind of screwed. So there's actually delay for puncturing taunt between when you activate the ability and when they're forced to attack you. So what some champions do sometimes, like Caitlyn for example, is she might shoot her ability that makes her jump backwards. If she does that, then she's not going to be close to you at all while she attacks you, and it's not going to help your lane buddy all that much. But usually this ability is pretty darn effective. You can get right up in someone's face and make them attack you, and then your lane buddy will just rip right into them. And I mean, it's very similar to how Taric works, I guess I want to say. But I just feel like it's really strong because it's got a really good cooldown, and I mean, yeah, it keeps them close for your ultimate as well, which we'll go into a bit later. Which is right about now, I guess. So, I would want to mention, I mean, the Powerball puncturing taunt combo is extremely effective. You catch up to somebody and you taunt them, because this just makes you move so fast. Taric does not have an actual mobility skill like Rammus does, and I feel like that's mostly why he's so strong. Throughout the laning phase, there's all this, dancing around and stuff. But come mid and late game, you're gonna have high levels of Powerball. You're gonna be hunting people down constantly, and they are going to be forced to fight you very often, and you'll just be getting kills left and right. Whereas with Taric, people are forced to come to you. You're kind of on the defensive a lot, and I've noticed that a lot of players don't like to be on the defensive. In their minds, it's not a viable strategy, and that's why Rammus works, because he can go on the offensive, and your allies will like that. They will like that you're going on the offensive, that you're going in and disabling the enemies, you're using your mobility. And in that regard, maybe Powerball really is his best ability, even though I like to think of puncturing taunt as his best. Perhaps Powerball really is his best one. And also, keep in mind, you can actually combo Powerball with his ultimate. Now, what is his ultimate? It's basically like Sand King's ultimate, only there's no channeling. It's pretty much an instant ability. So you cast it, and then boom, 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 boom. Everything around you just starts taking damage. This will scale with your ability power. So keep that in mind. What else? That's about it. There's not much else to it. So I mean, as you might imagine, if you activate this and then you use Powerball to move faster so people can't run away, you don't necessarily have to stun them, and they're kind of stuck in your ultimate. And then you can choose to stun them, as your ultimate's winding down, or just so that way maybe your allies can be kept up to them, perhaps. So I mean, there's that option. And of course, they might even force you to stun them too. So you might want to be watchful for that. Somebody might sacrifice themselves so the others could get away. So be a little bit cautious if you try to combo those two abilities. But anyways, yeah, the ultimate, it scales really nicely with his ability power. I'm not sure exactly how well. But since both of those ability powers, I mean, yeah, those they are skilling with your AP. That's a really good way to do some extra magic damage. So yeah, pretty fun champion. And then I would definitely recommend picking up like your Thorn Mail and your Sunfire Cape, because those items also do magic damage. And then what you want is your ally to be playing like Varus or somebody like that, who doesn't mind building an attack speed item that'll boost your own damage. Like this one, it steals magic resist from the target on hit. So this is theoretically something you could be buying for yourself. And then you would be stealing magic resist from the opponents, while they're being taunted, for example, perhaps. You're both attacking each other. And then, once you start your ultimate, they're going to be taking even more magic damage. The one thing of it is, though, your ultimate already does so much damage anyway. You probably don't need to be stealing magic resist. But if you do, that's actually magic resist that gets added to your own stat temporarily. Now, I don't know how long that is. I'm going to have to do some research on it or test it out myself. But I don't know if there's a buff that actually shows up for like a couple of seconds or how long it lasts. But I can imagine if you're being attacked by some mages or something like that, it could help you out quite a bit. If you do decide to buy, like, I don't know, a Hextech Gunblade, which gives you lifesteal and spell vamp, then I can imagine having some extra attack speed and stealing magic resist could be pretty useful to increase your survivability. But for the most part, and maybe that's something I would do if I was the jungling Rammus, I don't know. But maybe I could perhaps edit the build. Now, where is the Rammus build here? So what I've got set up for what I find really effective is getting this Guardian Angel ability and the Zonius Hourglass. Now, this one's an active and this one's the passive. So they basically, once you're toast, you're actually revived after 4 seconds. And this one, before you're toast, you actually make yourself invulnerable. So you kind of like revive in 2.5 seconds because you're unable to actually do anything during that time. I do believe your ultimate can still run, but people would obviously run from you, so I don't think that would be all that effective. But yeah, it's nice because it gives enough time for second and third abilities to be ready again, or maybe even his first, to stun them. But yeah, second and third abilities, actually all of his abilities except for his ultimate, have pretty small cooldowns. So having one of these items to buy you some time for your items to come off cooldown is really useful. Now, you could go the route of getting some attack speed, some lifesteal, and spell vamp and all that. And the spell vamp is going to be really good because you're doing so much magic damage, because you have so much armor and you're surviving for so long. But the thing is, you might get bursted down. So I feel like that kind of style of play with Rammus might be really risky. Whereas with these items, you'll revive even if you are completely toast with Guardian Angel. And then, if you're reading the burst well enough and how much damage you're doing and how much disables are being thrown at you, you should be able to activate Zoni's Hourglass without too much problem. And then again, you're buying yourself time. And that's what you want to do, for your allies to catch up after you've powerballed and all that. So, I guess I've had a lot of practice with the champion, but I really feel like he's a really strong one, and he's just really easy to play. So, yeah, really fun one, and pretty simple. And I'll definitely be playing more of him in my games. So for some reason I was invited to a rank. They keep inviting me to these teams. I'm trying to see my yeah, there we go. I'm trying to see my personal scores. There we go. Should say, yeah. So he's now my 4th most played champion in the ranked games. But I'll be playing more of him. I want to get him up to like number 2 or number 1, I think, because I've just been having a lot of success with him. Even when my allies are just really horrible, I've been doing rather well. And although I did get demoted playing Division 4 while playing like Shaco and Soraka and all those guys, losing some games. Some other ones, they're not really on the list, I think. But anyway, they what am I trying to say here? I was in Silver 3, and before that, like, I might have ranked higher if I wasn't losing in the provisionals, I think they're called. So, but I ended up in Silver 3 because I only won like 6 games out of the 10, even though I won my first 3. So I guess my MMR or ELO or whatever was like really low, and then in the provisionals, I got like 3 wins just because I was rated too low, and then I actually started losing because I was lagging a lot. Was mostly the problem. Then I moved into the other room, and I'm lagging much less, and it's a lot better gaming experience right now being in this room because my connection to the wireless connection is much better. It's not as good as I'd like it to be, but it's still not as bad as it was before. So, at any rate, I was like 90 points, 80, 70, 50, whatever, and now I'm just 1 win away, I guess, from entering a promotional series, which, as you could see, there are actually 6 players in a promotional series right now. 4 of those 6 have failed to their first game, so they have to win the next 2 if they're going to get promoted. These guys haven't played any of their games yet, and then some others have either dropped back down or progressed to the next level, I guess. But that's actually a level that I was already in. I believe I had like, how many points did I have? I'm not sure, maybe around 40 or so, 30 to 50 probably, and then I ended up dropping down. So I actually don't even have a 50% win rate in ranked yet. So the champions that I am winning a lot with, which is mostly Rammus and Warwick, I need to be playing more of them, it seems like. Warwick for jungle, Rammus for support. And then if I do decide to play more Shaco and Soraka, I really gotta step up my game and take it more seriously and just play out of my mind like really well. But overall, I suppose those champions aren't as strong, and it's not so much that they aren't as strong, but also that players in general have a bad attitude when they play with them, and that kind of hurts the teamwork. And when teamwork fails, then the team as a whole fails, and then you lose. So it's better to play champions that your team can feel confident playing, with them as your ally. Even if you like the champion a lot, the morale of the team is pretty important. So even if you think Shaco is the best champion in the game, which I don't think that, I just enjoy playing him. But even if I did, it still wouldn't matter. I'd still be losing quite a few games with him. And of course, lagging with him isn't going to help things either. So I'm going to hope to improve on that, and hopefully I'll be able to increase in my rank, especially as I understand more about these champions. And Garen's another one that I've come to realize I probably should play more and get more experience with him, because he does have a silence like Soraka does, and it's not some pathetic like half a second silence like Blitzcrank's ultimate or whatever either. It lasts for like over a second, I think. Anyway, so it's a pretty strong champion that I could definitely get some more practice with, and yeah, I need to buy some champs too. I mean, look at that IP. I'm a little over halfway having enough for one of 3 champions that I want really badly right now. So I want Trundle, I want Shyvana, and what was the third one? Sejuani. Yeah. So Shyvana reminds me a lot like Shaco because I really like her playstyle. Seems like a fun champion, but I don't feel like she's overall one of the super strongest. At the same time, I still think she's stronger than Shaco. So that it'll be fun to unlock her for sure. But I really like Sejuani and Trundle. Sejuani especially because I feel like she's a really good team fighter, kind of like Warwick and Rammus, I suppose. And Trundle, I guess, would be like an alternative to playing Garen, I guess. Or maybe I would like him even more. But here, Trundle actually reminds me of Ricky from Dota 2, just because they have one similar ability, and that is Ricky's smokescreen. Of course, Trundle's ability does not silence, unfortunately, but it's still got that slow. It it affects a pretty good area, and even actually the middle of the ability is impassable, which is interesting. That's a bit different. So you can't walk straight through it, which is curious. Anyway, he's a real fun champ. So I absolutely want to unlock him next, and then I think I'll get Sejuani afterwards, just because she's really strong, and I'm trying to take this ranked stuff more seriously, and I need champions that are really, really strong like Warwick and Rammus, and I feel like Sejuani is one of those. So I'll be picking up those two, and then for a bit more fun mixed in, I'll be playing some Shyvana as well. So those are my goals. Get enough IP for those champions, which is going to cost me over 10,000 IP. It's actually going to cost over 12,000 IP, but I already have 2.6 thousand right now, so it's not much more than 10,000 more from this point. But yeah, I got a lot of grinding to do, and I'll be doing some episodes while I'm doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed my champion rundowns, and then me talking a little bit about my goals, I guess. I wasn't sure exactly what else I'd be talking about other than just talking about a few champions. But next time I will be doing more champion rundowns, and I'm going to try maybe after this episode to do like 2 that I don't own and 1 that I own, instead of doing like 3 that I own, because if I keep doing ones that I own, then I'm going to run out of ones that I own really fast, and then there's going to be a bunch of low quality episodes for me talking about champions I barely know anything about, and that's probably not such a good thing. So yeah, we'll I'll probably do Zed next week, and because I know quite a bit about him, just not as much as I would like, but quite a bit. And then Gnar, I suppose, because I've played him pretty recently. And then how about Lux? So next week, Zed, Lux, and Gnar. And so I hope you guys are looking forward to it, and I'll